All right. All right, guys, let's talk about the pressure of the holidays. I got two cameras going here, so if I look up and down, just know that that's what I'm doing. I haven't lost my mind completely. But the pressure of the holidays, I did a live training last night, and the question or the thing that got the most attention was the pressure of other people during the holidays when it comes to the foods that you're consuming, the foods that you're eating. And so, what it seems like, and what I know to be true, just working with thousands of clients from all over the world, is regardless of where you're from, regardless of who you are, regardless of how old you are, there's some kind of peer pressure when it comes to eating certain foods, especially around the holidays. And there's also an internal component to that where you feel guilty or you feel bad or you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings for not eating a certain food item at a gathering or a party or an event or something of that nature. And what I want to do is help you overcome that just really quick with some just simple conversation. First and foremost, we're all adults, right? And no adult should be telling another adult what they should and or should be eating. And as an adult, we should not be getting upset with each other because we don't want to consume certain foods, regardless of how delicious the food is, regardless of if you've eaten that food for your entire life. And this year you just decide, hey, I don't want to eat that food anymore. But what happens is we get this internal pressure and external pressure because it's weird, especially for those of us that are on a really a big health journey. You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to eat 17 pieces of pie during a Thanksgiving celebration. Maybe we used to, but maybe we don't want to do that anymore. And now that we don't want to do that, that makes people uncomfortable. And they're like, well, hey, well, you've always loved this special pie that Aunt JoJo makes. Well, you know what? Still love Aunt JoJo. She's still amazing. I'm still stoked to have her here, but I don't need to eat her pie in order to enjoy the celebration. And so that's one of the first things we have to do is we have to understand, why are we there? Like, why are we together? Why is Thanksgiving Thanksgiving? Why is Christmas Christmas? Why are these gatherings the gatherings? And they're not about the food. They're about you. They're about me. They're about us. They're about the connection and the communication and the love and the joy that we get to spend together. And so let's don't get it twisted of why we're even in the room together in the first place. So two camps, right? If you're one of those people that feels guilty, like because you didn't eat a certain thing that somebody spent all this time making, like, I mean, listen, you can still celebrate the gift of them crafting this beautiful pie or food or whatever it is. I'm using pie as the example, but it could be anything. It could be a beverage. It could be alcohol. It could be whatever it is. Like, you are not required to consume anything as an adult that you don't want to consume. And like I said, if you're on a health journey and maybe you don't want to have dessert this year during Thanksgiving, that is 1,000,000% okay. And you don't need to have any guilt associated with that. You see, because it's a double-edged sword. What's going to happen is if you do have something that you don't want to have, yeah, you might like instantly be like, oh, okay, well, there's an instant gratification of pleasure there. I made her feel good. I made him feel good. I ate the pie. It was kind of delicious. I liked it. And then the guilt and the shame is going to hit you later because it's something you really didn't want to do. Like, anytime in life we do something we really don't want to do, we always have a sense of guilt, shame, and then a little bit of animosity afterwards toward the person that kind of made us do the thing that we didn't want to do. That's not Thanksgiving. That's not Christmas. That's not what this is all about. And so avoid all of that. Just say, listen, Aunt JoJo, like, man, your pies have always been so delicious. I'm just not in the mood for pie this year. I'm just not having pie this year. I just simply don't want any this year. And you know what? No, thank you is a beautiful full sentence. Like, you don't need to have an explanation behind it. And it's not harmful. Like, no, thank you should never hurt anyone's feelings. Right? And if it does, let's talk about the other camp, right? The reason people push food on us, and this is just a really sad thing, is the reason we push food on people and the reason people push food on us, especially if we're on a health journey, right? Because they'll be like, oh, you want to diet this year? Like, no, I'm just not eating like a savage this year. Like, I'm just treating myself with a little bit of respect this year. Well, that makes everybody else uncomfortable because in their brain, they're like, well, gosh, I'm going to eat all this food. And what does that make me, right? Well, it doesn't make you anything. It makes you who you want to be. See, that's one of these weird things is we think because other people are doing something that it somehow shines a negative light on us because we're not willing to and or do want to do that, right? So it's on the flip side, like if I went to a holiday celebration, a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, or whatever it is, and everybody was eating pies and cakes and candies and cookies, I could care less. I wouldn't be like, oh gosh, I feel so bad that I'm not eating what they're eating. Or I wouldn't feel anything. I wouldn't feel judgment towards them. I wouldn't feel anything. I'd be like, we're on totally separate journeys, right? Even if we're in the same room. And so we should never feel bad or push food onto someone or say, don't just enjoy your life. Like it's Thanksgiving. You're supposed to eat 17 pieces of this. Like, listen, we get to do what we want with our bodies. Right? And if somebody wants to devour an entire cheesecake by themselves, then hats off to them. They get to do that. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. And you don't have to feel guilty about not doing that. You don't have to feel anxiety about going. You should never feel anxiety about not wanting to eat something, guys. And so make an agreement with yourself this year that it's your body. Right? You're in charge of what goes in your mouth. You can say no, thank you. And that is a beautifully orchestrated sentence, grammatically correct, and should never hurt anybody's feelings. And you have to understand if somebody does act like or get their feelings hurt because you didn't want to consume a food item or a beverage, well, that says more about them than it does about you. That means that's an internal issue that they have going on. There's nothing disrespectful about not eating food, right? See, that's this weird thing that we've created. Like, yes, they might have slaved all day in the kitchen, basting the turkey or doing whatever it is, but it's okay not to eat it. You can still say, hey, awesome job, appreciate the effort, hard work, looks delicious, enjoy yourself. Like, they can enjoy it all, right? It's more for them. So don't feel guilty, don't feel bad, don't create animosity or anxiety inside of yourself, either because you did or because you didn't, around a food item. Be present in the moment. Be there for the reason you're there. And if you're there for the cheesecake, well then eat the cheesecake. But if you're there just because you want to be around people you love and care about, then make that your central reason for being there. Food has nothing to do with it. We as humans have just brought food into every equation in our lives for some strange reason, right? And so knowing that, you can say no thank you. And no thank you is very kind. It's very, no one should ever be upset by that. Right? So let's avoid that food anxiety because we do or don't want to eat something, that we don't want to make somebody else feel a certain way about that certain thing or whatever. You don't have to be on a diet. Let's be honest. Like if you've listened to my podcast recently, episode number 173 of the Thrive Forever Fit Show, you might want to play that before Thanksgiving dinner. Just pop it in. You can hit YouTube or listen to the Apple, Google, wherever it is. Let everybody listen to that little 20 minutes. And it should be like, oh, okay, wait a minute. You know, really the premise is just this, is like, we have made eating healthy the outlier. We've made eating good food the outlier. We've made that a diet, right? If somebody eats a salad or has just a piece of protein and maybe a nice green veggie and some healthy fats, like they must be on some kind of crazy diet. But if people go to McDonald's every day or Taco Bell or eat potato chips and bagged and boxed and processed and chemicalized foods, that's just normal. Right? Think about how crazy that sounded when I just said it. There's nothing normal about that, right? Like that should be the abnormal. But we've created this disillusion around what food really is anymore and about what food is really for, right? Food is not comfort. I know some of us use it as that, but that comfort, that food is not pleasure. That pleasure always turns to pain, right? Because anybody that I know that says, oh, well, I eat for comfort, they're usually not happy with their physical body. They're usually not happy with their internal body. They're usually not where they want to be, right? So they're using food as the weapon to harm themselves. And they're really not gaining comfort from that. It's a momentary instant gratification, but quickly it turns to shame and guilt and pain. And so understand that food's not going to ever bring you the thing you're looking for. Never going to bring you happiness. Never going to bring you comfort. Never going to bring you long-term pleasure. Like you might get that instant hit of sugar that creates the dopamine and the serotonin, and you're buzzing for a minute. But when that comes down and you look down and you've eaten half of a whatever it is, right? There's always some shame and some guilt that goes with that. And that's not good, right? That's not what we want to feel. That's not what I want you to feel. I want you to be happy around food. Like food should be a celebration, but that celebration should not turn into a negative. And so what we have to do is understand that eating healthy foods is normal. Eating healthy foods should be normal. It's not an outlier. It's not a diet. You don't need to explain yourself. That's why in the Thrive Forever Fit program, I say, I don't believe in the D word. I don't believe in diets. We don't call it a diet. I will teach you how to eat for the rest of your life so that you can eat guilt-free. You can eat shame-free. You can eat without chaos and overwhelm and all of those things. So I just wanted to pop on here really quick today, shoot you a little quick video just about that topic of feeling guilt or feeling pressure from other people when it comes to food around the holidays. Your body, your choice. You get to make those decisions because guess what? You have to live with you. You have to live with the ramifications of what you do around the holiday table. And so make your decisions based on your goals and your desires and your outcomes. And they have nothing to do with what anybody else wants. And just because you've always eaten something doesn't mean you have to always eat it again, right? And that's never going to go away. Like Christmas is coming next year, Thanksgiving is coming next year. And so if you want that pie, you're going to have the access to it. And let's be honest, we live in a world now where it's endless opportunities to eat anything and everything that we want. So just because you say no on a certain day doesn't mean you can't have it the following week or the following month or the following whatever it is. So there's no shortage of food. There's no scarcity. So don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. Enjoy the holidays for what they're for. Love you. Happy holidays. Hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you back here soon.